Hi, everybody. I'm back. And I'm going to deliver this in a one take. I'm not going to edit it. Just putting that out there. And I'm doing this because I want to. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I'm doing it because this has really always been the goal. To wake up and be able to create. Create what? Well, it kind of depends on who's receiving it. But I think at the end of the day, it's for positive change. I think it's for good. I think it's helpful in some way, shape, or form. Here, as we exist in this space, wherever you're watching this. However, the reason why I'm doing this isn't financially driven. We're going to talk more about that in just a moment. Because, in essence, you do what you need to do. You do what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do. That's actually going to be a completely different conversation for a completely different time, for a completely different video. But it's here in my notes. I have notes for every channel, for every title, every topic, every idea, every thing that I would like to share or do or show or create. And I have notes. I then try to create separation from the channel so that they're not duplicated or diluted maybe, or I'm not quite sure of the right word to use there, but I don't want the channels to ultimately meld into one and then it's almost indistinguishable one from the other besides just the title of the channel. Today, we're going to talk about the struggles. And the struggle is actually my own. And I've been working through this for quite some time, but I will say that just in the last 48 hours, the time we spent in Atlanta and doing the things we were doing, and Michelle and I having the talks and conversations we were having, it really hit me that if it's my struggle, then odds are it's probably someone else's struggle. And if I just talk about it, it's going to help me. But then it inevitably has to be able to help someone else, right? In theory. And so the real reason why I'm actually holding myself back, or was holding myself back, was fear. That's it. Fear. Maybe it was a little bit of a comfort, but it's like once the comfort zone is taken away and you no longer have it, well, then you really only have one choice, and that's to be uncomfortable. You can be uncomfortable and continue down the path that you're on. And if you don't like that path, then you're inevitably working towards something that you don't even want, that you don't feel comfortable doing. Whereas, inversely, you can be uncomfortable going down a different path, working towards something you do want, working towards something better, growth, progress, whatever that may be. No matter what, you're going to be uncomfortable. But I feel like at the end of the day, depending on your final destination, will determine how comfortable you are when you get there. And if you continuously go down a bad path while being uncomfortable, once you reach the end of that road, you'll still be uncomfortable. But if you harness that uncomfortableness, that uncomfortability, not sure if that's a word, and you reach the destination that where you really wanted to be, there's no way you can get there and be uncomfortable. We're going that way, folks. Vulnerability. The reason why I'm actually holding myself back, or was holding myself back, would be vulnerability. There's certain things you just don't really want to say. There's certain things you just don't want people to know about you. There's certain things that you're afraid of how it could be received by others, and it makes you feel vulnerable. Perceived rejection, or rejection really, which is perceived, because rejection, I would say, especially in this space, in this world of content creation and online communities, algorithms, and social media, rejection is really what we make it. And it's perceived. For instance, comments. There's people out there creating businesses and building wealth, or at least producing high levels of income and revenue and profit based on comments. And comments can be good, they can be bad, and there can be none. And so the rejection comes from bad comments. You get a bad comment, that can be rejection. You could feel rejected. You get no comments, you could feel rejected. You get good comments, and then all of a sudden you don't, and you could feel rejected. But it's your perception of these comments. For instance, if you turn the comments off, well, you've pretty much eliminated the possibility for that to even happen. Perspective, folks. Perspective. False accolades. The reason why I was actually holding myself back. False accolades. Posting a video and not necessarily getting the overwhelming results that most people probably never will receive. And then being disappointed by it. But these false accolades are, simply put, vanity metrics. Vanity metrics. Vanity metrics. For instance, let's just say you're comparing income, as we would use views on a video to compare to a previous video or someone else's video. Unnecessarily, we shouldn't. But as we do, we are human, compare and say, let's just say income. Okay. You got 3 people. They all make $150,000 a year. It's kind of leveled the playing field for comparison, right? But again, it's just a vanity metric, because what's in front of and or behind that matters probably more than just the salary. How old are they? What's the size of their family? What's their household income? What are their expenses? Where do they live, in the country or around the world? There's a lot to it. I mean, let's not pretend that this doesn't exist. And the fact that you could be a teenager with a successful business making $150,000 a year and you haven't even graduated high school yet. That would be completely different than comparing, let's just say, someone in their 40s with 4 kids and a spouse and a mortgage living in California or New York. Big difference, right? They're vanity metrics, these false accolades that seemingly define you in a nutshell when there's no way that they actually could. And whether your video gets 1 view or 1 million views, it's still a vanity metric depending on the reason and purpose for making the video to begin with. I can't say, or I can't do that. You can say and you can do anything you want. Now, granted, within reason. Obviously, we're not going to go out and commit crimes, or at least describe how we would. But, from the perspective of, I can't say that my neighbor sucks. I can't say that. Well, yeah, you can. Why not? Oh, because, my neighbor might see it. Oh, yeah. Well, does your neighbor suck? Yeah. It sucks for him. But unfortunately, I see this happen a lot with people that I work with who say, I can't say that, I can't do that. Now, granted, sometimes it's because of some superficial reason or a perceived, some perception that honestly it's really more of a mental scotoma that you create to stop you from doing what it is you want and or need to do. So you come up with these reasons. There's a pool behind me. I can't jump in that pool. I'll look silly. I'll get wet. But I could jump in that pool. And I may not look silly. I mean, I will get wet. But I really could. I can come up with a number of reasons. Hell, I could say it's dirty. I could say the pH levels are off. The chlorine's not right. But I could still do it. And I'm only telling myself I can. I'm coming up with all these reasons why I couldn't. But if you ever see anyone jump into an ice bath or in a bikini jumping into snow, or doesn't seem like something we would want to do, but you very well could do it. There's not a lot of things we really can't do, but there's plenty that we could tell ourselves, or at least try to convince ourselves that we can't do, shouldn't do. And this is where I tell people, don't tell anyone you have a YouTube channel. And it's not even for the reasons that you may have heard before. It's for my own personal reason. Again, these are my own personal struggles. These are actually the reasons that were holding me back, okay? And the reason why I say don't tell anyone you have a YouTube channel is because the idea that they could be watching, the idea that they are watching, which odds are usually they're not watching. Odds are usually they don't even want to watch. They don't care. They really don't. They're holding you back. Okay? Adding to, oh, I can't say that. I can't do that. For instance, if I share with you my revenue, or if you wanted to share your revenue or your income or anything, if you wanted to share your debt, if you wanted to share, your relationship problems, if you wanted to share, some of your insecurities, you may say, oh, I can't do that because I don't want my friends to know. I don't want my family to see. But if you never tell them that you have a YouTube channel, odds are they will never, ever see it. They will never find it. That's how vast this platform and the algorithm is, as I am currently testing it now, and am extremely confident, barring you make a video and you title it for the interest of friends and family or coworkers or people you really don't want watching it. You know, if you work at a particular company in a particular town and you make a video about it, then odds are the people at that company in that town may be presented with it. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, also based on how you present the videos, they'll never see it. Because at the end of the day, the simplest and easiest way to deliver these messages is by titling the videos for what you want them to know. If you want people to know the reasons why you've actually been holding yourself back, title it that way. Odds are your friends, your family, your coworkers aren't necessarily interested in that video, that concept, that idea. And if by chance they are, in the smallest case, then they're genuinely interested, and odds are their response is going to be very positive and very supportive. Editing. Now, editing isn't an issue for me, but I'm adding this in because I feel like this could be a reason why it's holding someone else back. And sometimes, like for instance, this video here, I'm not going to edit. Whereas, okay, well, sometimes editing could hold me back because I just don't feel like doing it. Okay? I just don't feel like doing it. Sometimes I have ideas and I come up with these ideas and I've actually kind of started working on them. And then I think to myself, this is going to be an enormous task. And I just don't feel like doing it. Or I'm going to be very busy for the next few days and I just don't have time to do it. We're actually about to head out and go to breakfast. And I was giving Michelle some time to herself this morning to wake up. And I knew that sitting here and having this conversation and sharing this with you all would take some time, but I also knew I wasn't going to edit it. So I asked her to give me 20 minutes. Granted, we're approaching 20 minutes now, but even if I planned on editing a 20-minute video raw, then I'm more than likely going to have at least another hour in it. And so my 20-minute video goes now to an hour and 20-minute video or more. And then who knows when we would go to breakfast. And the last thing you want to do is tell your wife you're going to breakfast and then not go to breakfast anytime soon. Like, you don't want to do that. That'd be a terrible idea. And so from an editing standpoint, you don't need to edit. You don't. This is one of the ways that I actually work with people to get them started, by sharing with them the simple and easy way of pressing record, telling people what you want them to know, stopping the video, and immediately uploading it from your phone directly to YouTube. No editing. Well, what if I make a mistake? You're human. I mean, there's certain words that I want to use that I just escape me. You know, maybe I could talk faster, but this is really the speed in which I talk. So if you wanted to edit it to condense it and make it feel faster, unnecessary, I think. Because some people would say, I don't like when you edit your videos and you chop them up and they don't sound like a normal tone of or tonality of conversation. Side note, you can't please everybody, and you won't. I don't try to. And the editing, like, because really and truly, if you sit there and think, well, I know how to edit. And I'm already thinking, I don't want to edit certain videos because it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting. Well, just think, if you're just getting started and you're already second guessing or reluctant or afraid to even make the video, and then at the back of your mind, you're thinking, I got to edit this thing and I don't even know how to edit. And by chance, you actually make it through and edit. And this video that was 20 minutes long took you 2 weeks to complete. How often are you going to be? How likely is it going to be that you're going to do that more often? Not very likely. Especially if the results aren't extremely overwhelming and positive from the start. You see what I'm saying? We're in a new era. And I think it's an amazing time where you can literally sit down and have a conversation with yourself and or other people without all the extra. I remember when I switched to Final Cut Pro, I was running a PC and I was using Filmora. And then I decided to go to a MacBook, and I was still running Filmora, but I knew I was holding myself back with Filmora, and my options were DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere, or Final Cut Pro. This is back when the MacBook M1 first was released, and Adobe Premiere wasn't optimized for the M1 chip. I attempted Adobe Premiere, but it was more hassle than it was worth, in my opinion. DaVinci Resolve, I wasn't feeling it. And I thought, why not just go with the native editing application built specifically for Mac? And I love Final Cut Pro. But what I did was I deleted Filmora. I downloaded Final Cut Pro, and that was the only option I had. I fully immersed myself in it and was forced to do it and to learn it. I think it may actually be a little bit more challenging as you're forcing yourself to unlearn something else you had already learned. However, I would also assume that trying to learn it all from the start would be equally as challenging. And so, if you need help editing, ask for it. But at the same time, realize you don't need to edit your videos. If you need help editing, you can hire someone to do it. At the same time, if you need help editing, you can ask me, and I can give you some pointers, some tips, show you some shortcuts, some easy workarounds. And you just, I think some people go at it thinking they have to edit their videos, and I don't think that you necessarily do. I think what's more important at this stage of the game, especially if you haven't started, you want to start, or perhaps maybe you've only made 1 or 2 videos so far, but you've kind of fallen off. What's actually holding you back, if it is editing, eliminate it. Eliminate it. Make your videos, tell your story, create the content, grow your following, and then from there, if you want to add in editing, go for it. But we want to get the repetitions. We want to get comfortable. We want to eliminate all the fear. And then from there, we can sprinkle in a little extra. And I've seen this happen multiple times. I've seen this happen multiple times, and videos are finally produced. That hurdle has been cleared. That impossible has become possible. And then there's no consistency. It's almost like giving up. We're not here to give up. We're here to keep going. We're here to accomplish the goals that we have set out for ourselves. So how do we overcome this? I identify purpose. And it's the question of, why are you doing this? What are you going to do, and why are you going to do it? Okay? That's number one. Number two, a little bit further down the road, and it's, well, what do you want? But it's kind of hard to truly determine exactly what you want. So we keep that a little open in the beginning, okay? But why? The purpose, okay? Well, my notes that I have here, which I may expand on in the future, why are we doing this? To make money. Okay. That's fine. That's okay. Or because you want to express yourself. That's fine too. Or you want to help people, which so far, if you really wanted to, you could help people by expressing yourself and make money. But pick one. Just pick one. The purpose could be to bring awareness. The purpose could be you're obligated. I've got a lot of channels, but I've only got 4 that I'm actually really kind of using. Of the 4, one of them I'm actually contractually obligated to do. You could find yourself in this situation because you're obligated. You could have already grown a channel, built it up, have produced revenue, hired people, created a team, have contracts and all sorts of things. You're obligated as well. Why do most people go to work every day to a job that they hate, that they want to quit, but they never do? Obligation. You got bills to pay. You got mouths to feed. You may even think that you have an image to uphold. Whatever it may be, we all, for the most part, have obligation. Once you cross over a certain age, I mean, like, I'm talking like 9 or 10 years old probably, you have obligations. But if you can identify the purpose, that's going to help, okay? Because if the purpose is to make money, then every video needs to be focused on making money. If the purpose is to express yourself, then every video needs to clearly express yourself. If the purpose is to help people, then every video should help people, or at least attempt to. If the purpose is to bring awareness, then make sure you bring awareness. And if the purpose is because you're obligated, then own it. And crush that obligation. As I said earlier, do the things you need to do, you have to do, so you can do the things you want to do. From there, we want to choose only one KPI, only one metric. We only want one key performance indicator that keeps moving us forward, okay? Because earlier we discussed and talked about vanity metrics. Well, if you begin to use vanity metrics, plural, as key performance indicators, it's next to impossible to hit the mark consistently. It would be like trying to score a triple-double in every basketball game you ever played versus saying you want to score, saying you want to rebound, saying you want steals, saying you want to assist. Focus. You may end up with a triple-double. So choosing only one, as I said, what are you doing and why are you doing it? Okay. Well, now we're getting to what do you want? And if you want the money, it's okay to say you want the money. Okay. If you want an emotional feeling, it's okay to say you want an emotional feeling. If you want, whatever it is, it's okay. Own it. Write it down. Remind yourself of it. Of the list of metrics or KPIs, the first one I have here is revenue. It could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be annually. And if that's the metric, then your videos need to be about making money. And then if you want to track it daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, do it. That's going to determine how successful, if not effective, your content is. If you're creating content to promote and advertise for your business, to increase your business's revenue, sales, and profit and income, that's okay. A lot of real estate agents do it. A lot of contractors do it. A lot of travel agents do it. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. A lot of merchandise, clothing companies, it's okay. If that's it, okay. Your metric could be subscriber count. People want a lot of followers. They want a lot of subscribers. They want this audience, which could be very beneficial in the future. It really could be. And if that's your goal, then create content that makes people want to subscribe, makes them want to follow, and ask them to when you want to. I think asking people to subscribe at the beginning of a video is almost like walking up to a stranger in public and asking them to like you. After they meet you, after they talk to you, after they get to spend some time with you and hang out with you and fill you out, they'll determine whether they like you or not. They'll ask for a number or give you theirs. Subscribing from the beginning and you have no idea who I am and why you're here, I just think it's a little silly. I also think that those who do subscribe because of that reason can actually harm you in the future from a psychological perspective, from an algorithm perspective, because you have subscribers that aren't actually interested in you and or your content or business, which algorithms base that off of and how they're going to promote and push your future content or business or not. You could choose to track comments as your KPI, as your one and only metric. Comment engagement. Maybe not even how many comments, but the comments and how they relate to the conversation or the story or the information or the theme or the idea of the video. That could be a way of tracking. You could also track by signups and memberships. Odds are you don't have memberships on YouTube unless you're already established and you have been accepted into the partner program. Otherwise, you could have signups and memberships for a newsletter, signups and memberships for a third-party website, and you could track it that way. I've got sales on the list as a metric to track, which you would think would fall into the initial category of revenue. But revenue and sales may differ because the revenue may come from other sources, whereas the sales in this instance are particularly and specifically products and or services that you sell. That makes sense. Just pick one. And these are what I have right now. I may come up with more in the future. I'll share those with you, and you'll see why and how in just a moment. From here, folks, we set a schedule. We set a schedule, and we hold ourselves accountable. We set a schedule, and we hold ourselves accountable. The scheduled intervals can be daily, weekly, monthly. But if you're just getting started, and again, this is from myself as well, actually holding myself back. I tried daily, and it can work, but I think twice a week. Shoot for twice a week. Shoot for twice a week. Maybe 3. Let's shoot for that. To sit down and have a conversation twice a week. And from there, if you find yourself wanting to have more conversations, go for it. Make it happen. It's like all caps and punctuation. Make it happen. If you set the schedule, make it happen. Don't snooze your alarm. And I do have a group, community on Skool. Join us. Stay accountable. I will say that odds are friends and family, yourself, myself might not be enough to hold yourself accountable. Just being honest, okay? A collective group, a community of folks focused on doing this, doing that. Not as much as personal as friends and family may actually help hold you accountable better. I know I will, from the standpoint of asking. And some people may not, because they don't want to ruffle feathers. They don't want to upset you. But if you tell me that you have a schedule, and you tell me you have a goal, and you tell me you have a desire, I'll just ask you where you're at. And if you tell me you haven't done it, you haven't done anything, you've snoozed your schedule, then I will remind you of that. I will share that with you. I'm not going to scold you. I'm not going to be upset with you. I'm not going to come to your house and force you to make a video. But I will at least ask. And here's a secret, folks. Told you I was going to tell you about this earlier. Here's a secret. Repeat yourself. Repeat yourself. Even if you think to yourself, I've made one video, but I don't have anything else to say. Make another one and repeat yourself. This is actually a trend that I saw on YouTube or TikTok of people saying that if your upload didn't perform well, then delete it because no one saw it and re-upload it, which I think is a terrible idea. However, that is in essence repeating yourself, okay? And what I'm going to do personally is I am going to retell this very same story. I've got it all typed up here in notes. And I'm going to retell this story over and over again. I'm going to retell this story in different ways, with different perspectives, and also after having learned more. But at its core, I'm going to retell this story. I'm going to retell the story in different locations. I'll retell the story in different styles, in different moods. More importantly, I'm going to retell this story with different titles and thumbnails, as they may resonate better with the folks who are waiting to hear this. We can't take for granted the fact or idea that everyone has been there from the beginning, is always listening or ready to hear what you have to say the first and possibly only time you say it. How many people have you met, been introduced to, and they tell you their name? And then you think to yourself moments later, oh shit, what was their name? You didn't do it on purpose. Sometimes people you just don't hear it. You don't hear it at that right time. And you need to hear it again. And then you'll remember. Then it'll resonate. Then it'll matter more. Most videos on YouTube, think about it, are repeats or at the very least reiterations. But that's by design. It's for a reason. We can blame it on the algorithm, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. Why do you see so many TV commercials or hear radio commercials or ads pop up that you've seen before? Repeat yourself. Repeat yourself. I've gone overtime by a lot. I've got to go. The school community is free right now. 100% free right now. And I'm accepting applications for new members. There's a link down below in the description. And I'll see you guys again here with another conversation real soon.